Peace, everybody. I just wanted to check in really quickly. So I'm just gonna give this video a second here to load. So saying hey to a couple peeps. Hopefully we get some folks to say hey to us. All right. Hey, Charles. How you doing? Hey, Brock. My good friend Janice, how are you? Hope you are well. Just wanted to check in. Sunkiss. Hey, boo. How you doing? Out here helping us let shit go. Oh, love you, Queen. Hey, Barbara. Hey, India. How are you? So just wanted to check in real quick about the workshop that's happening at the beginning of next month, which is basically 2 weeks. Hey, everybody. So what I've been noticing is that a lot of people are, creating and doing programming to support empaths. Hey, and I think that is wonderful and great because I think, hey, Tia, how you doing? Good afternoon. Because I think that our nature and our identity has been sort of downplayed or treated as insignificant. And so I wanted to kind of touch on just a snippet of what's going to go on in the workshop. So for those of you who are not familiar with what an empath is, they are a special group of people, a set of people on this planet who have a heightened sensitivity and awareness to the thoughts and feelings of others. They can go into a room, or they can be in a particular space, or and many times, like in group settings, they can feel the feelings and emotions of others. They are also a light. If you're an empath, you have probably had people, perfect strangers. For me in particular, I don't know what it is about the grocery store, but in line at the grocery store, that is where I run into people, and it is like instant sharing and therapy. In line at CVS or at Kroger or Meijer, I'll run into someone, and they feel very comfortable sharing with me some details, in their lives. And I've struck up conversations in parking lots with people that I don't even know, but they feel a certain level of comfort in sharing. Hey, Benita. Hey, Royale. Hey, Royale. Long time no see. I hope you are doing well. Kenyatta, how you doing? And so, as an empath, you somehow just intuitively know exactly what to say to that person because you're able to actually trade places. Yes, at the Walmart. Trade places with that person and know exactly what they're dealing with. I mean, you feel it, in your body. And maybe because you've experienced it, you've gone through it, because there are certain groups of people that go through an ascension process, which is happening now. You may feel it in your dreams. You're having very, 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 very lucid dreams. Hey, Bernita, how are you? Hey, Mr. Murphy, how are you? Hey, Angela, how are you? You may have very lucid dreams. You may be experiencing a lot of deja vu. You may also be noticing number patterns. That's a key indicator to the angel numbers, where you may see 10, 10, 11, 11. A lot of people are seeing 444, 333, 222. Thank you. And what I'm noticing is that this is happening across many different faith traditions. This is happening across denominations. This is just happening so kind of across the board. I mean, even people that aren't quote unquote woo-woo are experiencing this humanitarian or humanity wake up call where they're waking up really early in the morning. I would say between like 3 and 5 a.m. And I think that what's really important to acknowledge here, I do an empath, visionary empath call every Tuesday. So you can join me here on Facebook Live every Tuesday. And I have a different expert that comes in from a different perspective. And yep, 222, right on the money. And so, each perspective is different, and I love that each of these perspectives are so different because we're all unique and we're all different. But one of the beautiful pieces that was brought into my awareness on this particular call or Facebook Live was with Hannah Al-Asri. She said that in the Islamic tradition, those hours, those twilight hours, is when the Holy Spirit descends downward. And for those of us who are sensitive enough and obedient enough, and you wake up and you sit straight up in the bed, you might as well because you're already awake anyway. There are downloads that are available for those of us who are ready to receive it. So if you're creative, hey, Rose. So particularly to my creative people, to my poets, to my dancers, to my musicians, to my dancers, to my graphic designers, and those of you who are looking to re-engage your creativity. That is prime time. Hey, Amanda. That is prime time for your creativity because you're very, very sensitive to the inspiration. You're very, very, very open. And so I would suggest that at night, before you go to bed, write out some questions, okay? Something that you've been wrestling with, a piece of a puzzle or something that you're looking to solve. Write those questions down. And drink water to kind of hydrate yourself. But when you wake up in that twilight hour, I can guarantee you, more than likely in a dream state, you're getting the answers that you've been looking for because you're more receptive. Also, you will be more creative in terms of being a channel for Most High to come through and for you to deliver your creativity to the world because you're in such a receptive state at that particular time. And it's a great time. Hannah called it spiritual VIP, where it's just you and God. And I love this song by India Irie called Private Party. I'm having a private party. It's nobody around but me, my angels, and my guitar. Look at how far we've come. Love that song because, that alone time for the empath is so sacred because we don't necessarily need a lot of people to have a good time or to engage us. Most of our stimuli is actually internal. So our dopamine levels are a little bit higher than most people. So we don't need external things to make us feel good. We're like a party all of our own up here in the mind. We can entertain ourselves for hours. You may have even had this experience where you think about something or you're kind of entertaining yourself and you laugh out loud, or you might even answer yourself because the voices in your head are so loud and people look at you like, huh, what, who are you talking to? Nobody. I'm not talking to nobody. It's me. I was talking to myself, or I was thinking out loud, or you were thinking to yourself and you're recalling something. So you're kind of can be a loner. And empaths also may find it difficult to be in large crowded spaces like malls or convention centers. May be very, very, very overwhelming to the empath. And so the workshop that I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the various types of empaths, but more to the point, the visionary empath. And so on our very first conversation, if you hadn't had a chance to check that out with Miss Rashawn Foster over at Hip and Zen in the North End, she talked about a vision that she captured. She was in a receptive mode and she had her notebook and her pen and she wrote out the vision for Artist Village. And she wrote out the vision, got all the key players. And so I call it what was calling the aligning of the constellations, meaning that she was able to see it without all the pieces necessarily being there, but pulling all the right people together and helped birth the vision that is known as Artist Village. And if you're not from Detroit and don't know what I'm speaking of, and that's fine, it's a haven for creatives to come and express themselves. So painters and musicians and poets and dancers, and also community. Blightbusters happens to operate out of that space. So, yeah, and in so doing, it's a certain willingness to submit to what other people may call crazy. Absolutely, Barbara. There is a party within us. We are having the best time. We just don't necessarily need other people to have it. And that recluse time where people may consider, oh, they're being funny acting or persnickety or my favorite, bougie. It's not that at all. It's just the need to replenish and recharge your battery. You have to have that alone time to get clarity on what you're here to bring forth, because as the visionary empath, you are here for a specific purpose, to bring forth a mission. And so some great examples of the visionary empath would be Oprah. Oprah came here and has definitely reimagined the whole way we see media and the whole way we look at communicating and relating to one another. She has brought in so many experts over these last few decades that have helped us overall live better lives. Another example would be Bob Marley. He had an avatar-like presence where his ministry was music. He created music that for generations to come will know his music and know who he is, but his message of love, his message of pure love and unity, he has created a soundtrack for love and creating a space of stirring the spirit up through song and through music and helping to bring love into the next stage of the revolution. So really deep and profound work. Also, Jane Goodall, if you're familiar with Jane's work with animals, there is such a thing. There are animal empaths who have an uncanny relationship where they can actually communicate with animals. We see that with the dog whisperer, where he has a particular gifting where he's able to communicate with dogs in a very intimate way. And also another example would be George Washington Carver, who's a plant empath. He was able to speak to the plants and come up with 100 different ways to use the peanut. And it has been documented that when asked, like, how are you able to do this? He said, the plants talk to me. So he had a relationship with the earth. He had a relationship with plants. So I say all that to say is that, as human beings and nature included, we're all one. We are all connected through the source of all things. And the sooner we get that messaging together, and this is why empath, this is so important for you. You are naturally gifted at reaching a cross section of people. You may not notice that you are maybe kind of popular in the sense of people just naturally gravitate toward you. And with your experience, and this is why you experience love to the varying degrees or the deeper degrees in which you do, to where maybe you've had relationships that were absolutely horrific and felt like train crashes and have hurt you, to your core, and maybe in some cases reshaped you, but yet you're resilient. That's another key characteristic to the empath, is that you have a remarkable resilience. You are able to transcend and move past things, the forgiveness a little bit faster than other people, and holding the grudge doesn't really suit you. Not because you have forgotten what the other person has done, is that you move through it quickly because you have more work to do. Many empaths are multipotentialites as well. And so what is a multipotentialite? You have multiple passions. You have many things that you want to do, and creating is actually cathartic for you. So, dance is great for you. Yoga is great for you. You may find that certain communities help you thrive. And when I say communities, other artistic or communal type of communities, you may be drawn to social justice, because any sort of prejudice or ill treatment is even deeper than that. Just bad treatment. You will not stand for ill treatment. And then taking it a little bit further with the visionary empath, there are certain populations where you're just not going to have it. So, for example, you could have a heightened sensitivity toward children. That could be your area of work. So you may find yourself in education. You may find yourself in social work. You might find yourself as a child psychologist or a child advocate, or you may find yourself wanting to volunteer in that particular area, or give to, because maybe you yourself had a very, very, hey, peace, how are you? Leif, one of my favorite people, how are you, Mr. Erickson? You may have found that your childhood was very tumultuous, and the empath child, especially when they see adults bickering or arguing, they may come in and be the peacemaker, because they have to have order and peace in their environment, and loud yelling is harmful, very harmful to their well-being. And so you may notice that if you're a parent of an empathic child, that they want to come in and they want to hug you, and they just don't like to see the fighting, and they become mediators. Even at their tender age, they have such an insight and wisdom about them, to be so young. They're so wise. So but their wisdom is a gifting, and that's also another trait of the empath. So I just wanted to kind of stop in and do some clarity and talk about some of the traits and characteristics. And like I said, you are an advocate. You are a placemaker. You definitely champion the underdog. One of the biggest signs of a visionary empath, bullying, you're not going to have it. It will send you through the roof to see a vulnerable population being taken advantage of. So it could be individuals with special needs. You could have a heightened sensitivity toward that. Elderly, any mistreatment. If you've seen, many of us have videos where in the nursing homes, you see elders being abused. It can debilitate you and really send you through the roof and have you very angry, because how dare someone take advantage of an elder, or how dare someone take advantage of a child or someone with special needs, or really any kind of cruelty. You're just not going to tolerate it. And you may find yourself, or have found yourself, in public spaces defending someone from being bullied or attacked or an unkindness. Maybe you've even noticed someone who is acquiring the English language, maybe being talked down upon. You're not going to tolerate that either. So, it becomes very difficult for you to be a bystander of any kind of injustice at all. So with that said, this workshop, if you've experienced any of these occurrences, and if any of this resonates with you, I definitely suggest that you sign up for the workshop. It will be an action-packed afternoon. It will be very interactive, and you will greatly benefit from it, because there'll be some remedies and some tips and some insights that I'm going to share that will help you maneuver this beautiful gift and get really clear on your mission here, with your time here on this planet. And so shout out to all of my musician friends, because music is medicine. You're not just a DJ, you're a healer. You are the shaman on the ones and twos, because what you're able to do with sound is so healing on a molecular level, especially for those of us who are house heads, for those of us that love house music. House music is healing music. There is something there in that bass and that rhythm pattern that just creates so much joy. And happy people are healthy people. And I got that from a PhD. So shout out to Ron Charles. He works, his specialty is internal medicine. And he shared with me this afternoon that in his work with his patients, those who are overall happy people are much healthier. And any prognosis that is given to an individual, if their outlook is one of optimism, they're actually a lot healthier people. And so for those of us, question, what are ones and twos? So the ones and twos are turntables. So table one, table two. And so a DJ spins what they also refer to as a wheel of steel, the wheels of steel. They are spinning. And so the ones and twos are those mighty turntables, and that's what they are referring to. You all, oh, thank you, love. I really appreciate that. And I'm not sure what you mean. Why are you not taking my name? I'm not sure what you mean by that, love. I think you need to give me a little more clarity on that. But in any case, this was just a quick pop-in video to talk about the workshop that is happening on December the 1st, and maybe some of the things that you're experiencing right now. Like I said, we're in a great ascension process, and that ascension doesn't always feel good because we get caught up in what's comfortable and familiar, even though we may not necessarily like it. It's familiar and it's comfortable, and we're just dealing with ones and twos everywhere, which you mentioned before. So I'm talking about angel numbers, but I'm going to speak more about that in the workshop that I'm doing. So I'll be talking more about what angel numbers are and those synchronicities that are reminding us that that's reminding us. Those are angel numbers that are constantly reminding us that heaven is watching and is hearing and is listening and is waiting to support us. Because right now we're just in a such a state of ego running rampant and fear and anger running rampant on the planet that we're all waking up. So as we're all experiencing these things, like I said, across different traditions, it's time for us to come together for a common goal, which is the survival and I would say thrival of humanity. We are so powerful, and I think we tend to forget that though there may be a minority in control, if the majority comes together, we can shift the entire paradigm. And that, I believe, that's what's happening. That's what's causing our discomfort. That's what's causing our collective rage and anger. That's what's causing us. So what I'm talking about is a workshop that's happening here in America. And it's happening on December 1st. But I'll be doing more Facebook interactions and sharing more details about the workshop, but what's coming from the workshop. And so what I'm dealing with right now or talking about right now are empaths, which are sensitive people who are able to feel the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of others. And they're able to be very intuitive as well. So it's really hard to be disingenuous around an empath because they can tell, they don't deal well with fake people or disingenuous people. They don't deal very well with that. And they love hard and they love fast and they love true. And it's not a mark of insecurity that you love hard, and it's not saying that you're desperate. And even sinking into some of the lower emotions, though, that come along with it, too. The emotional empath can have bouts of depression because the weight of the world and the pain of the world is so real for you that it can be debilitating because you want to do something about it. It's hard for you to be idle and watch it play out. So watching the news for the empath is not something that the empath is really... I'm not going to say interested in, but it can be painful to watch the news because the news can be very negative, and the bickering that goes back and forth. Again, not necessarily healthy for the empath without doing some grounding and shielding work, and we'll talk about that in the workshop. But your strength is your heart. Your strength is your love. It is your ability to see all sides. You are able to see the perspectives. You are able to hear what's not being said. Empaths are amazing listeners. They are great sounding boards. That is why I believe that they're able to give great advice, because they listen and don't wait to talk. They actually are engaged listeners, and they truly want to. Beautiful. Well, welcome aboard another fellow visionary empath who hear, but you also feel too. So as you're listening to people, you're probably getting intuitive hits as they're talking. Yeah, I know I can't do the news either. The empath is not waiting to talk. I see you, Cast Tech. That's okay. It'll never be Southfield Lathrop. I don't care what kind of empath you are. Still won't be Lathrop. But all jokes aside, and in all sincerity, it's just time for us to come together. It is really time for those of us who are ready to step more fully into our gift, and for those of us to go back to our individual communities, with the knowledge and be equipped to create spaces of advocacy, spaces of connection and love. Music is such a powerful tool, and I'm not saying this in sort of a placate way. Yes, Barack Obama is not a cast technician. Oh my goodness, here we go. But in any case, music is so vital for the empath to recharge and to rebuild and repair. And so, okay, like not you, Cat. Oh goodness, I tell you, Cast Tech will always find a way to come in and just bomb my FB lives. Anywho, offline, I'd really love to speak with some DJs because there are certain notes and rhythm patterns that are very cathartic and very healing, that goes into sound therapy, that are really good and helpful to help us. Yeah, seriously. Oh gosh, here we go. Aaliyah, you too? So nice. Well, I want my Chargers to come in. Southfield Lathrop, class of 1999, baby. Big ups to Lathrop to come chime in as well. But back to the conversation at hand. The music piece, the primordial sounds like the drum are so necessary for the reboot and recharge, because as the empath goes out into the world, again, even scientifically, our neurons, our nerve endings are way more sensitive than others. So we feel first, then we think. And so moving in a world where intellect is prided, and there's nothing wrong with intellect and common sense, trust me, I don't have any issue around that. However, I have heard of the binaural beats. Yep. So those are really helpful. But for the average person or like the lay person, there are things that are even more accessible, like certain types of house music. And there's something about, house music events and house music nights that I really love, because it helps to, again, it's almost like a dance church or a music church, if you will, because it brings forth the call and response, the tambourine, the instrumentation, but also the collective movement on the dance floor also really, 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 really helps. And so we need to have more spaces. We cannot have enough spaces to dance. And again, like I was saying about my friend, Dr. Ron Charles, who's in internal medicine, talked about having a happier outlook and disposition, especially when prognoses are given that are serious. The mind helps shape how one is going to navigate that and their overall survival. So things like Reiki, for example, which is a touch modality, has also been shown and used in hospital situations, for patients. So I just love that this is such a great time that we're in, and that this is such a beautiful space that the sensitive people are coming forward and acknowledging their gifts of sensitivity, and are acknowledging their gifts of intuition, and their knowings and their foresights and their visions. So really, really honor that. So I am looking forward to seeing you on December the 1st. So I extended the early bird. So you can get the early bird ticket until Black Friday. But after Black Friday, the ticket price is going to jump. So still want you to come, but come not just with yourself, but share this information with a friend. Bring, your community out to this event, because again, we're so much stronger when we are in community and when we do things as a collective. And I believe that change starts with just one person. It takes one person to make a difference, and not just make a difference, but one person holding a strong conviction and being unmoved in that conviction. And then that conviction being one of righteous thought and action. So we can do so much if we hold the virtues now of the world that we wish to see. And so I'm dropping a link right now. If you head over to my website. So tickets are $58. It's an action-packed day over at Bamboo. Yes, please be there. I just dropped my website. So click on the website and click on blog, and you can go ahead and purchase tickets there. Definitely bring a friend or two or three. This workshop is really ideal for individuals who, again, like I said, a perfect stranger will come up to you at the grocery store. You have, again, a strong affinity toward a particular population. And like I said, it could be youth. It could be any marginalized group of people where you feel like their rights are yours and you take them on, in a way as if they were your own. And also, you feel very strongly that you have been called. And I don't want to necessarily say like ministry in the typical sense or in the traditional sense, but you do feel that weight. It's that strong of a calling on your life to either start a social entrepreneurship or social enterprise or an advocacy group for young people or for elders, or fill in the gap. And we're all here to love and to serve. I mean, really, that's our job. We're all here to love and serve. It's just going to look different for each person. And that's the fun that you get to have, is that path of discovery. So I'm hoping that at the workshop, because we will be doing some assessments to see what kind of empath you are and what definitely resonates with you, and how you can really kind of unpack your gift and see loves, what you're here to do, and how I can best support you in unpacking that gift, because the power of girlhood, unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. I have a deep conviction toward supporting and being a safe space for girls to have them tap into their power, their innate power. And through the Power of Girlhood program, we don't make girls into anything, or we don't tell them what to do. We are the midwives to help them birth themselves and to stand in their own truths and their own convictions, and look at what they're made of, and what are you here to express? But also, we have fun. We like to dance. We've been to different countries over this summer. We did salsa dance from Puerto Rico. We went to West Africa with African dance and drumming. We headed over to Egypt for a little belly dance, because that's the particular style that we learned, was the Egyptian belly dance. And we went to Brazil for a little bit of samba. So we also find it very important to honor the various traditions and cultures that every girl comes from, and expose other girls, just so that they are aware there's a big world out here and you belong in it and have every right to it. So that's that. I just, again, hope to see you on December 1st. I'll be doing some more posting on my page so that you can find the link, but go to BrehendaWilliams.com. Click on the blog. You can purchase tickets there. We're on Eventbrite as well. And feel free, if you have any thoughts or, concerns around it, feel free to inbox me. But tune in this Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. So set a reminder. Hey, Danny. Hey, Melissa. Set a reminder. We're going to have another conversation about visionary empaths with visionary and empath Dr. Tara Christoph. who is a soul purpose coach. She helps women find what their soul purpose is, and she is amazing at really unpacking that. And she has wonderful insights about her own growing and her own intuition and fighting off her own insecurities. So it's going to be a really delicious conversation, and I hope that you join us this Tuesday for that. And that's every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. India, thank you for being there every Tuesday and with your questions, because we do take questions for those who tune in. And yeah. So let's just do this together, because it's going to take all of us. I believe that it's not so much that we're waiting on God, but God is waiting on us. So what are you going to do? Who are you going to be? How are you going to show up? How are you going to give? I heard it once said that, on this rock is where I build my church. Well, if we are the church, what kind of services are we holding? Because we may be the only experience that people will have, and we may be the only hug, the only kind word, the only support that a person may get. You just never know, because we're all transitioning, we're all going through something, but let's be that light and let's be that love. So with that said, I'm going to bid you all adieu. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you all for tuning in, chiming in, but check out my workshop, Visionary Empaths Unite, on December 1st at 10 a.m. at Bamboo, Detroit. We're going to have a wonderful time, and we're going to unpack the various types of empaths, look at the gifts that the empath has, and look at how we can build stronger and safer and more compassionate communities in the way that only an empath can. So God bless you all, and I will see you all very soon. Peace.